Today we're gonna make a super easy dish, perfect for weeknights when you're busy. Creamy sun-dried tomato shrimp linguine. Here are the ingredients. Let's get into it right now. I always like to go over the ingredients. It helps me, but more importantly, it helps you. If you've been watching this show and if you've been maybe binging some videos lately, you will notice I open with the same exact monologue with that every time because it's the truth. It really does help me and it really does help you. Okay, let's go over all these ingredients. I have 1 1/4 pound of shrimp. Now I left the tails on. You can take them off if you like. You know, a lot of times people in the comments will say like, why'd you leave them on? I think it makes it look nicer. So I'm going to leave them on today. If you look at the recipe on the website, we used 31 to 40 count. So that means 31 to 40 per pound. These are U26. That means that there's 26 or under per pound. So these are bigger. You could use even larger or you could use far smaller ones if you like. It's very flexible, this recipe. We're gonna brine these shrimp with 1 teaspoon of diamond Crystal Kosher salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and a 1/2 teaspoon of hot crushed red pepper flakes. That's gonna mix in there along with 3 tablespoons of this sun-dried tomato oil. We're gonna use a whole 10-ounce jar of sun-dried tomatoes, which is about a cup's worth. We're gonna slice those tomatoes up, but we're gonna use 3 tablespoons of this oil in here, so it's kind of pulling double duty. Now I'm gonna use some extra virgin olive oil too when I saute my garlic, but you don't have to. You could also just use more of the oil here if you like, to try to save some money and stuff like that and just using less ingredients. As far as the garlic goes, the recipe says 8 cloves of garlic, but this looks more like 15. I love a lot of garlic in these recipes, so I'm gonna use it. And it also depends on when a recipe says 8 cloves of garlic, the cloves could be a lot smaller or larger depending on where you bought your garlic from. I have 1/2 cup of grated Pecorino Romano cheese. It's about 50 grams worth. I have 3/4 cup of low sodium chicken stock that was turned that way from chicken base. I always use the better than bouillon chicken base. It's really simple. And then we have 3/4 cup of heavy cream. If you're looking at these ingredients, you're probably already saying oh, this reminds me of that Marry Me chicken. We actually already did that recipe. We didn't call it Marry Me, I just called it creamy sun-dried tomato chicken. That's kind of what this is here. And these are great flavors. These flavors work really well together. We're also going to use about 1/2 cup of dry white wine. It could be a little bit more. I have sauvignon blanc here, but you can use whatever you like, whatever you have on hand. I have 10 ounces of baby spinach. We're going to put in some nice basil at the end, and I am using linguine. But you could use a lot of different pastas for this. I think rigatoni would be nice for it too. So that's pretty much all the ingredients, and let's brine the shrimp right now. Okay, so these are 10 ounces of sun-dried tomatoes. Let's see how strong I am. Yes! I'm gonna do 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons of that sun-dried tomato oil. And then here is 1 teaspoon diamond Crystal Kosher salt, 1/2 teaspoon baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon crushed red pepper flakes.
What does the baking soda do?
Supposedly makes it plumper, a better bite when you do it. I don't notice that much of a difference. My feeling is it's not hurting anything. So it might improve it a little bit, so I just say go for it. If you're really opposed to it, just don't do it, just take it out.
And you don't taste the baking soda?
Not at all. Now you can if you use too much, like 1/2 teaspoon, 1/4 teaspoon, you're not gonna taste that at all. So I'm mixing this all together. I honestly, looking at this, I think we need some more crushed red pepper flakes. All right, listen, put these off to the side just for about 10 minutes. That's fine, that's all you have to do. Use your hands and you're gonna get a little messy here, a little oily. Just pull all these sun-dried tomatoes out. Now, if you have access to the sun-dried tomatoes that come in like an olive bar type situation, that they're dry, there's no oil, those are great too. You definitely use those. The reason I specify oil packed is that's where the majority of people are gonna buy. Speaking of packed, it looks like this jar is packed a lot better than the other jar I used. So I don't know if I need the whole jar. I'm gonna go with about this much, okay? All right, so see like this, and you can push it out here, and then you can just make little strips of them. Okay, so you get maybe 5 per sun-dried tomato. You don't have to go crazy here. You can kind of just cut any which way. You can cut them this way if you want. You don't have to do the strips, but I do think the strips look a little nicer in it. That's a 10-ounce jar. The Cento version I used had way less in it, and it was a 10-ounce jar as well. So I'm gonna show you, I think I'm probably gonna have to change this recipe. I think we're gonna do 1 packed cup after they're cut, which is exactly what I have here. Probably still had a good amount of the jar left, so I think this is gonna be perfect. So shrimp are just sitting in the brine for a second. We have everything basically done. It's super simple. I'm just gonna, because everything comes together really quickly, I just wanna go pick basil right now. We'll get it from the garden. This isn't so good anymore. I actually think over here is some good stuff. Yep, right here. So it's like trying to regrow again a little bit. So I'll leave that so it can grow in, but that's good. This is emerald, so it's a little different. So that's good too. I'm gonna use a 14-inch pan. This is a non-stick that I just got recently, Tramontina Pro. They do not sponsor me, but this is a really good pan. I'm actually really impressed with it, and it's non-stick. And I'm heating this up to medium. There are certain times that, like, you don't want things to stick. It's easier. Your dish will not be better one bit if you use a stainless for this. So if this is easier for you, go ahead and use it, okay? At this time, and I already have it going, make sure you bring your water to boil. 2 tablespoons of salt per gallon of water, okay? Just salted water. We're gonna cook our linguine. Everything comes together very quickly, all right? So get your pasta water boiling. I have extra virgin olive oil here. You can use regular olive oil, just a couple tablespoons. You don't need much here because we already have a couple tablespoons of the sun-dried tomato oil. Here's our shrimp. And just spread them out so they make even contact on the pan. I'm making the heat a little higher, a little bit more than medium. And you literally can cook your linguine now. This is gonna take a couple minutes. Sauce, everything's gonna take maximum another 10 minutes. So always wanna have your sauce ready for pasta. Even in this sense, you will. If you wait, it's fine too, but you can just lower this, super low simmer, or even turn it off and then cook your pasta. Okay, it's been about 60 seconds, maybe 90 seconds, just like this. There's our shrimp. Just start turning them over. And then give them another 90 seconds or so. Shrimp cook very quickly. So there's our shrimp, look. You see that is? He's cooked in 2 minutes. That's it. Here's my garlic, just put it in. A little bit more oil. All right, so look, our garlic is getting nice and golden here, okay? I'm gonna put the tomatoes in now. Okay, and just let these cook for like a minute or so. There's not really any brown bits. When you use a non-stick, you're not gonna have brown bits. You're not gonna have that horrible 4-letter word. All right, we're gonna use a 1/2 cup. So how do we measure a 1/2 cup? We look like here and we go, that looks like about a 1/2 cup right there, okay?
Or you can measure a 1/2 cup.
Yeah, it doesn't matter though, because it's gonna evaporate anyway, it's fine.
And what about for people who can't have alcohol?
Just don't use it.
Don't use it,
Just
right?
don't use it. Let this reduce by about half. Pasta's going, it's been going for a couple minutes. This is my chicken stock, 3/4 cup. Just let this simmer with it. Okay, you're gonna have to bring the heat up a little bit. We want everything to simmer here for a couple minutes. Okay, so that's 3/4 cup of heavy cream. This is a 1/2 cup of grated Pecorino Romano. If you don't want to use Pecorino, you could use Parmesan cheese too. And we have enough time here because the pasta is still about 5 minutes away. All of this spinach is gonna turn into essentially nothing soon. Okay, I'm just gonna try to gently get some of that liquid over here to melt it quickly. Or if you got a big 14-inch lid, stick it on top. I got one, but it's far away from me, so. I don't know if I told you, I'm cooking the pasta to 1 minute less than al dente. So Tara, this is the Checo box, 12 minutes on the linguine. So I just set my timer for 10. She just monitors it while I'm talking to you. Then we'll have enough time where we'll just let it kind of sit in the sauce and kind of absorb a little bit of it. This is what it looks like right now. We don't have much sauce in here. You know, the spinach is releasing its water. Once it starts to bubble like this, you can see these bubbles. You can just turn it down to a touch less than medium. Looks like it needs some black pepper, even though it's got the hot red pepper.
I like black pepper with any type of cream sauce.
Right?
Yeah.
Pecorino's salty, so we'll just salt at the end after everything goes in, but we might not need to. Okay, here's my pasta. It's still not done. I just took it off the burner over there. You don't have a lot of liquid here. Like, you don't have a lot of sauce. Like, I don't have that much. You can just pull this wet then. Okay, just basically just doing a little drain like this. Okay, if you're like really soupy here, you didn't reduce enough, just drain in a colander. But either way, save some pasta water, because even if it looks wet, what's gonna happen is you're gonna wait for your family to come to the table. They're gonna be doing something. They're not gonna come down right away. It's all gonna dry out, and then you're gonna have to add a little bit more pasta water, so save it. Here's the shrimp. Let's get them in there too. And then let's just get everything mixed together here really nicely. This looks beautiful. We do get a lot of flack about the tails. They're always like, why do you have the tails on? That's why I have the tails on, because it looks amazing. This pasta here, It needs to cook probably another minute. Don't worry if you don't have enough sauce, if it doesn't look like you do, you got your pasta water, it's fine. I turned the heat off there. I want to taste this now, like the sauce, and if we need any salt here, okay? And actually, I know I put pepper in before, I'm gonna put even more black pepper right now. Easiest way to taste for salt is to actually taste the sauce like with the spoon like this. Salt is good. So I'm gonna pull this off the heat right now. I'm gonna put a couple leaves of basil on here, and if it gets too dry, you have your pasta water on the side. Why don't you just dig in right away, okay?
Is this the same way you made it the other night?
Yeah, was it not as good or better?
I think it was better the other night.
It was better the other night, huh?
It's like too thick now.
Okay, it's thick because I was waiting for you to come down here for 15 minutes, all right? That's exactly what I was telling people, that they have to, it was super wet before. Hold on. I'm gonna give you a different plate, all right? Literally gonna take this, I'm just gonna mix it in, and I will just give you, and this is what you have to do. This is why I'm saying save your pasta water. Okay, so all I'm doing here is I'm just taking a tiny bit of it, and then I'm gonna mix it in here, and look at how creamy that is again now, okay? You know, in a perfect world, like when you see stuff on YouTube, whether, you know, forget about if you're watching me, you're watching someone else, they are like rushing to get that test done, if they do a taste test. Because a restaurant, when you order something, it goes out immediately. It doesn't sit there, or it won't be good when it gets to your table. Is it creamier now for you?
It's way better now.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so I just want to show people what I did so they know.
So I know what I'm gonna give this because I already said what I was gonna give it the other night.
Okay.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
The steak sandwiches and this are like two of like the best things he's
Okay.
made.
But
And
so
he made them all in one day.
Thank you so much. I redeemed myself then.
I would give this like an 8 out of 10 how it was before.
So the pasta water really is so important.
So important. Always save it. Always. When I write all the recipes, every recipe you'll see for pasta on our site, and there's 100 pasta recipes. Almost every one of them will say, save 2 cups of pasta water, and it'll say next to it in notes, will most likely not need all of it. I say that because a lot of you are not gonna pull your pasta from the pot. You're gonna put it in a colander, like your grandma did, or something, and then you're gonna not save the pasta water, but you really do need it for this exact situation, which you can clearly tell is not set up. Right, James? We didn't set that up or anything. You just took a long time to get down here.
Yeah.
Give it a 10, huh? Is there anything that could make it better?
Well, I said this in the last video. I don't think once I give it a 10, there's nothing that can really make it better.
Could it be spicier?
It could be a little spicier, but preference. It's all preference.
Yeah.
We should have a video where instead of me actually giving a review, it's like how much I eat off the plate is my rating.
A lot of people say that in the comments. They say, I don't trust him, like when you gave a 7 and you ate the whole thing. They're like, that is higher than that.
Sometimes I'm just actually hungry and I'll eat anything.
When you were a little kid, you used to do that. You'd be like, yeah, this is a 7, and you would eat the whole thing on camera. Not so little anymore.
Yeah, I'm gonna be taller than him soon.
Not that much of an accomplishment, okay?